Good evening. You're watching the 7 o'clock English news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. The total expenditure in the state's public finances amounted to more than 3.48 billion Omani Riyals in the first third of the current year. Sultan Qaboos University establishes 2 new research centers in the field of sustainable energy and nanotechnology. And more than 18 people are killed and many others wounded in a suicide bomb in the Syrian capital, Damascus. Those are the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has sent cable of greetings to His Excellency President Alexander Lukashenko of Belarus on his country's National Day. The total expenditure of the state's public finance amounted to 3,483,700,000 Omani Riyals. The Minister of Finance said the state's public expenditure declined during the first third of the current year by 1.6%. The Minister explained that the deficit in the public finance had witnessed a decrease by 21.1% during the first 4 months of the current year, reaching 1,733,100,000 Riyals. It said that all public financing means increased by 43.1%, which amounted to 2,599,800,000 Riyals during the same period. Sultan Qaboos University SQU approved the establishment of the 2 new research centers, namely Sustainable Energy Research Center and Nanotechnology Research Center. The Sustainable Energy Research Center will provide information for researchers related to energy policy and strategies, sustainable energy, integrated electricity power systems, and energy management. The Nanotechnology Research Center will coordinate research efforts of the university in the field of nanotechnology in all parts of the Sultanate. It will also contribute to establishing the presence of SQU regionally and internationally in the fields of nanotechnology. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry started to prohibit importing asbestos goods and products, which is in the organic sustainable, consisting of special types of rock fiber. Constant human exposure to asbestos leads to different health problems. The issuance of this decision comes after the examination of several samples of goods and products by the Directorate General for Standardization and Metrology in cooperation with the Public Authority for Consumer Protection, where these materials could be found. The results of the examination showed that the samples did not comply with the standard specifications, for they contain harmful asbestos to human health. The Minister of Commerce and Industry, in cooperation with the Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries Wealth, finished preparing the standard specifications of fishing boats made of reinforced fiberglass, which are less than 14 meters in length. These specifications also included safety, balance, flotation, durability, power of the engines being used, availability of navigation rights, as well as the installation of batteries of the boat in closed place out of the reach of water and away from the fuel tank. The students of the higher education institutions expressed the possibility to work in the private sector if the wages are higher than the public sector by at least 25%. This came in a questionnaire conducted by the National Center for Statistics and Information. The students studying in colleges and universities abroad preferred to work in the private sector if the percentage of wages increased by 70.7% compared to the public sector. Meanwhile, the students of the Sultan Qaboos University occupied around 65.1%. On the other hand, 46.7% of the students of the applied sciences colleges refused to work in the private sector, even if the increase in monthly wages reached around 50% compared to the government sector. Some students, through the questionnaire, expressed that limitation of practical training is the main element, lacking in educational qualification by 45%, followed by weakness in English language level by 30%, and then the need to develop the educational curricula by 29%. Still to come, our news bulletin. During Eid al-Fitr leave, scores of visitors towards several nature and heritage sites in the Sultanate. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Several people were killed and others wounded when a suicide bombing struck an eastern district of Damascus. Syrian state television reported that security forces intercepted 3 suicide car bombers this morning, blowing up 2 of the entrances of the city. The third was able to enter Damascus and blew himself up after being surrounded, causing several deaths and leaving a number of people wounded. The World Health Organization WHO representative in Yemen said fast spreading of cholera outbreak in the country has killed 1,500 people within 2 months. Dr. Navia Zagria, the WHO representative, said that the cholera outbreak has rapidly developed into an extremely serious situation since it started in April. At the press conference co-hosted by the Deputy Representative of the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, Yemen Sharin Verki, in the country's capital Sana'a, it said that between the 27th of April and 30th of June, a total of 246,000 cases of suspected cholera were reported across the country. During the same period, 1,500 deaths were also recorded. According to recent statistics, suspected cholera infection cases in Yemen are rising at a spread of around 5,000 new cases per day, and children have accounted for a considerable proportion of those infected. Iraqi forces have recaptured a hospital and other medical facilities in West Mosul, further isolating Daesh holdouts in the old city. An Iraqi official said in a statement that Interior Ministry forces recaptured the Ibn Sina teaching hospital along with other medical facilities, including a blood bank and a clinic. The commander of the country's federal police said the area where the hospital is located, Al-Shifa, had been completely retaken, limiting Daesh's presence in Mosul to the old city. He said Iraqi forces are advancing from 3 sides and are pursuing the terrorist groups in the few remaining areas of the old city. Back in the Sultan, the first session of the Muscat securities market after Eid al-Fitr holiday witnessed an improvement in the shares of companies. This coincided with weakness in the values and volumes of trading. The market is still being affected by the investors' leaves and summer holidays. The other factor is that investors are waiting for any positive economic news that may support the market. The highest increase rate recorded by MSM today was 4.5% for Tajir Finance Company, followed by Gulfa Engineering and Contracting Company with 4%. Air Arabia announced today that starting from July 9th, 2017, Sohar will become the third destination to join its Oman network. The new route complements Air Arabia's existing operations in Oman to Muscat and Salalah, boosting travel and trade opportunities between the two countries and provides hassle-free travel options to the residents of Sohar. The flight will operate 3 times a week on Sundays, Mondays, and Wednesdays. Several nature and heritage sites received many visitors during Eid al-Fitr holidays, which stressed the importance of tourism sector in enhancing economic development in the Sultanate and the need to increase investment in this sector. Notable figures were recorded by the Ministry of Tourism for the number of Omanis and expatriate visitors to some touristic sites. Water ponds in the Wilaya Wadi Bani Khalid received around 17,000 visitors. Meanwhile, Jabal Akhbar attracted more than 5,000 visitors who came to enjoy its nice weather and eye-catching natural scenes. Heritage sites in the Sultanate were also the destination of many visitors, as Nizwa Fort received in one day 200 visitors, more than 230 visitors toured Bahla Fort, and 240 visited Jabrin Castle. Now for the general forecast around the Sultanate. Partly cloudy skies prevail over the coastal areas of the Governorate of Dhofar and its nearby mountains, with chances of intermittent drizzle. Rest of the Sultanate will have clear skies. Winds will be northeasterly light to moderate, and seas will be slight to the maximum wave height of 1.25 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The total expenditure in the state's public finance amounted to more than 3.48 billion Omani riyals in the first third of the current year. Sultan Qaboos University establishes 2 new research centers in the field of sustainable energy and nanotechnology. And more than 18 people are killed and many others wounded in a suicide bomb in Syrian capital, Damascus. And with that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin from all of us here in the newsroom and the studios. Thanks for watching. Good night.